I can't believe the Democrats got a W finally. Holy shit. Pete Hegseth, your agenda is illegals, trans, DEI, all of which are no longer allowed at DOD. Pete's POV. God damn, that is oof. We're gonna talk about the second Pete Hegseth drama that hit the timeline. Another Signal Gate moment from our defense chief. Whoa, where the hell did what the hell? Defense Chief Hegseth shared war plans in second Signal chat, New York Times reports. A second Signal Gate has hit the timeline. Ladies and gentlemen, this man absolutely loves sending state secrets to people over Signal, to people that he should not be sharing these secrets with, people that do not have the proper clearance. I personally don't care. I think it's quite funny, as a matter of fact, that these guys keep leaking details of their horrible plans. I care more about the fact that they have these horrible plans to begin with. That's what I care about. But once again, it is pretty funny that this administration keeps getting in its own way. Amazing. Breaking from the New York Times, Pete Hegseth shared detailed information about forthcoming strikes in Yemen on March 15th in a private Signal group chat that included his wife, his brother, and personal lawyer. The info included the flight schedules for the FA-18 Hornets targeting the Houthis in Yemen. Now, it's hilarious because, like, if you know someone with any kind of security clearance, you know that this is a big-time no-no situation. It is very, very unacceptable to do this, and this would immediately revoke your security clearance. Like, this is something that would normally get you fired and possibly even criminal prosecution. But, of course, we live in different times now. Here it is. Hegseth said to have shared attack details in the second Signal chat. The defense secretary sent sensitive information about strikes in Yemen to an encrypted group chat that included his wife, brother, and people familiar with the matter said. Mr. President, a second Signal group chat controversy has hit the towers. Nothing Pete loves more than slamming 5 to 10 beers for breakfast, driving to work, and then texting war plans to his brothers over a few fingers of whiskey. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth shared detailed information about forthcoming strikes in Yemen on March 15th in a private Signal group chat that included his wife, brother, and personal lawyer, according to 4 people with knowledge over the chat. Some of those people said that the information Mr. Hegseth shared on the Signal chat included the flight schedules for the FA-18 Hornets targeting the Houthis in Yemen, essentially the same attack plans he shared on a separate Signal chat the same day that mistakenly included the editor of The Atlantic. Mr. Hegseth's wife, Jennifer, a former Fox News producer, is not a Defense Department employee, but neither should be Mr. Hegseth. To be fair, like, I'm not defending this administration, but, like, it's not like Pete Hegseth is qualified for this job anyway. Might as well share it with everybody, you know? And I don't think that this will cause Donald Trump to fire him, considering the first one didn't cause Donald Trump to fire him, even though this actually increases the stakes a little bit higher than the previous one, because now, at least in the first one, they did not know, according to their defense at least, that there was a person that did not have any security clearance whatsoever in that group chat. In this one, Pete Hegseth knowingly is sending classified information to members of his family and friends. Who else has he sent this to? The fucking intern that he wants to have? Who else has Pete Hegseth sent the Yemen bombing detailed information to? It seems like everybody knew about it except for us and the Houthis. Just leak it next time in a more appropriate avenue, you know? Mr. Hegseth's brother Phil and Tim Parlatore, who continues to serve as personal lawyer, both have jobs in the Pentagon, but it is not clear why either would need to know about the upcoming military strikes aimed at Houthis in Yemen. The previously unreported existence of a second Signal chat in which Mr. Hegseth shared highly sensitive military information is the latest in a series of developments that have put his management and judgment under scrutiny. Dog, what do you mean? Unlike the chat in which The Atlantic was mistakenly included, the newly revealed one was created by Mr. Hegseth. It included his wife and about a dozen other people from his personal and professional inner circle in January before his confirmation as defense secretary, and that was named Defense Team Huddle. The people familiar with the chat said he used his private phone rather than his government one to access the Signal chat. I don't know if I'm against it at this point. We may need this guy to give us more insight on how they're killing civilians in Yemen. Oh, I am unconditionally in support of Pete Hegseth doing this. I cannot stress this enough, chatters. And I've made this clear since the first time this became a controversy. I think that we are missing the forest for the trees. Now, I think it's deliberate that the media is missing the forest for the trees. They're deliberately refusing to reckon with the actual issue here, which is, why are we bombing Yemen to begin with? That is the real point of contention for me. we should not be bombing Yemen. As a matter of fact, we should be listening to the very reasonable, very moral demands that the Ansar Allah admin is doing, is engaging in. We should be listening to Yemen and saying, yeah, maybe Israel should cut it out. And this is a consistent position that I've long maintained. I said, I like leaks. I don't care if it's because you saw massive harm being done to civilians at the hands of our military and wanted to blow the whistle, or because your Groyper Discord kittens were acting out of line and you needed to teach them a lesson. So to me, I love this. I love these leaks. More leaks, please. Leaky faucet. I don't care. To me, there is a higher order of priority here, which is number one, why the f are we bombing Yemen? Number two, why are we bombing Yemen without congressional approval? Number three, is a foreign nation, by the way. Like, there was a time and place when you had to get congressional approval for these things. Not that it matters, because, like, I don't think we should bomb Yemen at all. Number three, also significant. Why are administration officials using encrypted chat rooms to have these conversations? This is supposed to be done in front of some kind of accountability. Like, this is supposed to be done in front of people that are logging these conversations taking place, so that there's a record of it. You can't have these private conversations on encrypted chat rooms. What are you, crazy? That's not allowed. That part is ridiculous. And also, by the way, illegal. That part is illegal. Now, it doesn't matter because the administration is never going to prosecute that sort of thing, but it is still very much not allowed. What the f? Oh, but this kind of stuff, Leaky Pete, Whiskey Dick Pete over here, engaging in personalized leaks of state secrets. I will say this much. This is good. This is like when Chris Murphy famously came out and was like, we tried to do a light coup in Venezuela, but the Trump administration was too incompetent to deal with it. And I was like, what do you mean? We tried to do a soft coup in Venezuela, Chris Murphy. Why is that good? Are you trying to make Trump look good? And that's kind of how I feel about this administration as well. Like, their incompetence sometimes gets in the way of their violent desires. And I like that. This is ironically what I mentioned before when we were talking about Pete Hegseth. I said, it's not the worst thing that you have an incompetent drunkard moron that is in charge of the Defense Department, because the Defense Department's output is overall very bad. And even the fact that he is a virulent racist and an Islamophobe isn't necessarily all that different from previous administrators of the Defense Department. I think that it's worse that RFK Jr., an anti-vaxxer who is anti-medicine in general, is in charge of the HHS than Pete Hegseth is in charge of the DOD, because this kind of shit will happen over and over again because of his incompetence. And I like that. I want the people in charge of the Defense Department to be incompetent, and I want the people in charge of the HHS to be competent. If you want to understand, though, aside from like the incompetence of this administration and their Defense Department, there's of course more that we must discuss on the matter. Perhaps more importantly, aside from this kind of shit, is what the American government has been doing. The American government is doing what Israel's been doing in Gaza, but this time to Yemen. I'm going to briefly bring this up. I wasn't going to bring this up today. I was going to save it for Monday, but I guess it bears repeating. Ryan from Dropsite, Ryan Grimm, friend of the show from Dropsite, actually covered this. The American government two-tapped a place that they had bombed in Yemen. This is a direct, clear-cut, definitional war crime. Make no mistake. What that means is they blew up a site. They waited for first responders to reach the site, only to explode it once again. Of course, I'm not going to show the videos. Don't be crazy.
Now, Hegseth did issue his first public comments about this just a few minutes ago from the White House at the Easter egg roll.
This is what the media does. They take anonymous sources from disgruntled former employees, and then they try to slash and burn people and ruin their reputations. Not going to work with me, because we're changing the Defense Department, putting the Pentagon back in the hands of warfighters, and anonymous smears from disgruntled former employees on old news doesn't matter.
So two things, John. First,
yeah, this is something that people noticed here. I will have you take a look really quickly. Where is this sideburn? That's right. It's under the earlobe. Now let's take a look at when he looks in the opposite direction real quick. To be fair, I think it's just white hair. Like, I don't think he shaved it up to this point. I think at first I thought that was the case as well, but I'm realizing that I think it's just because he has white hair on his beard, so you can't really see it. Yeah, you see, you can kind of tell from this angle that it's just gray hairs, so it looks like there's no hair there.
So two things, John. First, neither Parnell, his spokesperson, Sean Parnell, his spokesperson, nor Hegseth there are actually denying the substance of the story, that he did have this Signal group chat that included his wife, his brother, and his lawyer. They are instead blaming it on disgruntled former employees, which is the second point here. Dan Caldwell and Darren Selnick, two of the officials that Hegseth fired last week, they actually were some of Hegseth's closest advisors over a decade. And one of the officials that left the Pentagon last week, John Olliott, who was until last month Hegseth's top spokesperson, he is saying publicly in a new op-ed that he wrote in Politico last night that it's been a month of total chaos at the Pentagon. And he said it's hard to see Defense Secretary.
I don't know if they are actually interested in dumping Pete Hegseth, by the way. Like, I know that there is reporting from NPR and whatnot, but it kind of feels like there is an internal battle that's taking place right now within the Trump administration between different groups that have different interests in the region, specifically in the Middle East, where I think, especially as it pertains to Iran, I feel like there is a little bit of a conflict there. Maybe I'm wrong, but it feels like there is the kooks and the crazies who are ironically taking a more restrained approach to Iran. Not to say Hegseth is one of them, because Hegseth is just a fucking idiot, but there are more hawkish voices within the admin that say, oh no, just strike Iran and nothing bad will come of it. And then some voices who are cranks that go, perhaps we should not do that. Perhaps we shouldn't strike Iran. Ironically enough, the cranks or the new right coalition is on the right side here. Dropsite is also reported on Hegseth being dumped potentially. Mike Waltz is on the other side of this. You can see some conservative commentators coming after him. Yeah, they commissioned Brace for this tweet. Jesus Christ, dude. I saw this. Pete's PO. This is actually a banger. This is actually low-key a fucking banger. I will admit that. Like, I can't believe the Democrats got a W finally. Holy shit. Pete Hegseth, your agenda is illegals, trans, DEI, all of which are no longer allowed at DOD. Pete's POV. God damn, that is so good. That is oof. They put alt text for accessibility. A screenshot of a blurry iPhone home screen. This is dark woke, dude. Fact post. Trump's White House has reportedly started looking to replace Pete Hegseth with a second signal after a second signal group surfaced. Start the clock. I mean, this one is funny. But this is brutal. Like that one is like, haha, funny, whatever. This is fucking awesome. This is the type of joke. This is the type of joke that, you know, if I was funnier, I would make. I don't get it. Sorry, I'm a bit autistic. They're saying he's drunk. They're making fun of Pete Hegseth's alcoholism by saying this is when you look at your phone, this is what you see, blurry. Imagine Pete seeing that tweet, so it's extra blurry. Yeah, it's even blurrier. That's why he didn't respond to this tweet.
Well, this would be a good news day to accept Hegseth's resignation. I mean, all the news is about this extraordinary pope that we just lost, and so it might be buried. I can't imagine how he survives this. His key staff, as you just reported, has been fired by him. Some of them were on the second call. There are rumors that there may have been as many as 20 calls on unsecured platforms. I mean, that is, I don't know what you call it, tradecraft 0.1. You don't do this. And I can't imagine that Congress will defend him at this point. I wonder if the president will defend him. He's embarrassing the president. So,
I mean, I hear they're doing that whole thing again. Here we go again. Just a waste of time. He is doing a great job.
Why do you still have confidence?
Because he's doing a great job. Thanks, Ask the Houthis how he's doing.
There's a hearing today on the Alien Enemies Act in the DC District Court. Your thoughts on that, Mr. President?
Well,
he's like, ask the Houthis how he's doing. No, literally, because he texted them. He's like, ask the Houthis. They know. He's been texting them every day. I keep telling him, Pete, don't do it. Don't text the Houthis. What are you going to do? He loves to set up signal chats and text everybody. That's my Pete.
We were elected to clean up the mess of this country. And we had millions and millions of people come in who are criminals, who are murderers, who are everything you can imagine, drug lords, drug dealers. They came in from prisons and from mental institutions. And I was elected to move them out, among many other things. And that's what we're doing.
Mr. President,
ask the Houthis how much this function has. There's none. Pete's doing a great job. Everybody's happy with him. We have the highest recruitment numbers I think they've had in 28 years. No, he's doing a great job. It's just fake news. They just bring up stories. I guess it sounds like disgruntled employees. You know, he was put there to get rid of a lot of bad people, and that's what he's doing. So you don't always have friends when you do that.
should he stop using the app?